Hello, my name is Melissa Vance, and I'm the Director of Education and Events at the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Chamber Chat. Today we're going to be talking with several people who have been instrumental in the Community Improvement Awards that took place last month. And that's an opportunity for us to recognize people and businesses that have made improvements to their facilities, whether that's new construction or beautification on their properties. My first guest will be Ian Smith from Earlham College, and they won the Exemplary Award. And then I'll be speaking with Sarah Mitchell, who works for the City of Richmond and is the Bicentennial Event Coordinator for our county. And then lastly, Ed De La Paz from the Chamber will be joining me and talking about a few things coming up at the Chamber. From Earlham College. He's the Director of Facilities there, correct?
Correct.
And tell us about your brand new building. What's the name of it again?
It's the Center for Science and Technology.
And that is not only an enormous building, but what an investment Earlham made into that. It was upwards of...
It was about $17.5 million by the time we collected all the costs associated with the project.
That is amazing, and it's beautiful. In case people haven't had a chance to get out there and see it, just to drive in that main drive, and it's on the left-hand side there, and you can't miss it. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you, Melissa.
What are some of the things that you love about that building specifically?
Well, there are a lot of things to love. Starting out with the day it was first used by our students, the obvious excitement, but also the functionality that allowed our faculty to be ready for them, to teach the way Earlham likes to teach science, which has always been a very interdisciplinary way. The building is designed literally around that concept. Also the fact that it attaches to Stanley Hall, which is our early 1970s science building that houses both biology and chemistry departments. So between the two buildings, we have, of course, biology and chemistry in Stanley Hall, named for Earlham's Nobel Prize winner, Wendell Stanley. And
wonderful.
In the new building, we have physics, math, and computer science, plus the science library function, which is really evolving here in the 21st century. So I don't think we really call it a library anymore. But to have them all together, to have the faculty offices literally from the various departments side by side, it makes that kind of interaction much easier. And it may sound silly to have these high-level intellectuals, and their interaction frequency is dictated by how close they are, but we're all human beings.
Absolutely.
So it just makes it easier. It makes it also easier for a student to come in, and if they need to see multiple faculty members, it's kind of one-stop shopping.
And it's a really neat opportunity for them not only to become instructors, but mentors to the students that are there.
Yes, Earlham faculty have traditionally been very close with their students, to the point where faculty are referred to by their students by their first name, which I understand is not very common.
That's very unusual, but not surprising from Earlham.
Yes, so all this is made possible, but really by something that's actually invisible. You see this beautiful building, it's lovely, but the process that went into creating it was equally beautiful. And I'm a career engineer, professional engineer. Don't often say that, but the process at Earlham for creating a building like this comes out of some of the college's Quaker background. The idea of using consensus-based decision making, making sure to consult as broadly as possible, which at Earlham means when you're going to build a $17 million building, you start at the very beginning when we're first coming up with the concept for the building, bringing in all the directly affected departments in the science division, and even some of those who may not use the building very much, but they're part of the science division, and meet up with the architect and start talking about what do we need in this building, how should it be arranged, make sure that our faculty are involved because they're our frontline people.
How exciting for them to be involved in that process, to not just walk in after it's complete and wish that there were things different, but to
Exactly.
be involved.
Exactly. And one thing, I was involved in all of those meetings as the director of facilities, and to see the generosity of spirit and the collaboration involved, it would have been easy for folks to sort of stake out turf. They did not. To work together to say, what can we do here to make this better so it works better for everybody?
Sure.
And that's pretty much what happened. I mean, it's not always easy because you have a lot of incredibly brilliant, very opinionated people in the room.
Mm-hmm.
However, the end result, I think, speaks for itself. And the reaction I see that people have that's one of the things I like to do sometimes if I'm in the building for something to do with my job,
Mm-hmm.
is just to hang out in the lobby for just a little bit. And you can usually tell when somebody's coming into the building for the first time.
Sure,
Just
absolutely.
the look on their face when they see it. And then it's just such a functional, busy building. It's not just a beautiful ornament out there on National Road. And we were very conscious as an institution of the fact of where this was going and what its impact would be on the National Road entrance from the west into Richmond.
Now, if there are people in our community, which I'm sure there are many, who are curious about the building and interested in seeing it, you don't have to work at Earlham or attend Earlham to actually come in and take a look around. People are welcome, I assume, to stop in and walk in the lobby and experience what you just described.
Yes, we're an open campus. If you're bringing a group, please call ahead.
Sure,
If you can't think of who else to call, just look me up.
sure.
Just to make sure, because if we've got something busy, if we've got a big, multi-departmental event going on in the building that day, it might not be a good idea.
Right.
But yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's nice to look at from the outside, but on the inside, it's also, even to someone who's not a career educator like myself, you can tell it's built around the idea of teaching. It's not just built to be this lovely structure that everyone oohs and ahs over.
Right, which is just almost inspirational to see some of the videos, especially the one that's on social media
Mm-hmm.
right now with students writing on the walls that are whiteboards and the tables being whiteboards and all of those things. It's just absolutely lovely. So congratulations on being selected. Very worthy selection, Earlham College, and all of the things that you continue to do to improve our community. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Melissa. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for being here. Now we're back with Sarah Mitchell, who works for the City of Richmond. She's the city planner, but she has been the coordinator for all of the bicentennial events and efforts that have taken place here in Wayne County. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Excited.
We are very excited to celebrate with you all of the things, but specifically the torchbearers who just won the Spirit Award at the recent Community Improvement Awards luncheon. And what a really neat group you have put together.
Yes, this group of torchbearers is phenomenal, and they've all been great to work with. And with the torchbearers, they were selected in Wayne County. Most counties within the state have approximately 20 torchbearers out of the 92 counties. Richmond, Wayne County has 36 torchbearers.
Wow.
Which is the third largest number of torchbearers in the entire state. So.
Now, how were they selected? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Sure. A lot of people ask that question, actually, and the torchbearers had to be nominated by someone else. They couldn't nominate themselves. And so we had about 42 that were nominated, and we went through a process of reviewing them and making sure that they not necessarily were worthy, but they met the criteria that the state set forth. And we were able to get 36 torchbearers to participate, and they all represent different parts of our community, different parts of Wayne County, and it's been really exciting to work with these torchbearers. Some of them are distance runners, and that plays a role into this, and some of them represent parts of the community. So it was very exciting putting this all together and working with the torchbearers in different parts of the community to try to get this arranged.
Now, the torch has passed through Wayne County already, but just for the people that may not know, the torch is passing through or has passed through already every county in the state of Indiana within a certain amount of time, right?
Sure. So on September the 9th, the venture started in Corden, and then it's traveling all through 92 counties. It's 3,200-mile journey to over
Wow.
2,200 torchbearers in total, and it'll end October the 15th at the State House.
Okay.
So it's going to journey. They are journeying 6 days out of the week, and for a total of 32 days for 5 weeks. So
Wow.
they are traveling, and
What a neat way to get the entire state excited about the celebration of 200 years.
yes, and one of the phrases that they use, I'm going to use my notes for this because it's just so powerful, but it says the over 2,200 community-nominated torchbearers will pass through 92 counties. Symbolic. Can we start that again? Is that possible? Okay. So the over 2,200 community-nominated torchbearers will pass the torch through 92 counties, symbolically connecting generations to ignite Indiana's future. And they keep talking about the third centennial and how
That's
this is
neat.
our beginning to the third centennial. And working with the Indiana Bicentennial Commission and Committee has been phenomenal, and the inspiration that they have
I
in bringing
bet.
people together.
I bet. What a neat honor, and what a great resume builder. Although we never want you to go anywhere, but what a great thing to put on your resume and to be able to share with your family that you've been a part of. That's really special. Well, tell us who are the torchbearers? Do you want to name them all, or tell us a few? And
Sure, I can name them all and highlight a couple. If that's okay.
That would be great.
And maybe talk about how they've traveled and the fun that is a part of it. Janice McGuire, she is with the Levi Coffin House, and that is where the journey begins. It's that's a legacy project as well, is the Levi Coffin House. They've invested, using federal and state dollars, $3.6 million to put on a full interpretive museum that will be in conjunction with the Levi Coffin House itself. So
I
that's
cannot wait to see
phenomenal, and it will
that.
be open in December. So that's even more exciting that it will still open in the bicentennial year.
absolutely.
And she traveled by way of a false bed wagon, horse-drawn, as if it were part of the Underground Railroad,
Wow.
which is just so cool. And so then from Fountain City, it's traveling down to approximately the northeastern area, and that's where Curtis Heiger, an IUE student, and he's picked up there. Jenna Barker, and she's a distance runner, and she's only 16,
Right.
and she's currently at the I can't remember the name of it, but the school in Muncie,
Right.
Burris, and Amber Wilford with United Way, and Shane Eddington with our pro bono, Wayne County
Right.
pro bono, Michael Swain with Ivy Tech. And what's really cool about where we were able to place some of the torchbearers were in relation to where they have roots in Wayne County, or as much as possible. And so Janice, of course, starting at Levi Coffin House, and Curtis's relationship with Fountain City in that area.
Right.
And then we pick up with Michael Swain and Chad Bolzer with
Ivy Tech.
Ivy Tech, and then Michael Swain with Purdue, and Catherine Cruz Uribe with IUE. So we were able to kind of
Right.
situate them in the position that was between US 27 and 70 interchange and the university
Right.
itself. And then Catherine passes that on to Craig Kenyon with Reed Hospital, right in front of the Reed Hospital facility there at Reed Parkway. And he passes it then on to Eric Marsh of WCTV, another torchbearer. And that passes then to Jay Clayfoth with the Model T of America near the Model T
Right.
site. And what was really cool with it is Jay was able to host a Model T that will help move the torch along. That was one of the challenges that we really had, was because we have 36 torchbearers and we only have 4 hours from 12 to 4 p.m. to get everybody through Wayne County. Now, 4 hours initially sounded like a lot of time to me.
That's a lot of mileage to cover, though.
That's a lot of mileage to cover. It's a little over 22 miles. And that's only about 6 minutes per person. And when some of the torchbearers we have about a mile, and the fastest person on Earth travels 4
Most
miles a
people
minute.
don't run 6-minute miles.
So that
Just
was,
saying.
yeah, I know, I surely could not. But that was one of the challenges that we had. So Model T of America was able to host a Model T to help move that path a little bit quicker. Mm-hmm. So they were able to still walk at least a quarter of the mile of their journey, but then they would travel the rest of it in the Model T. So that way we could keep the torch moving.
That's neat.
And so from Jay, it goes to John Deals, and from John Deals, it passed to the intersection of the city building and the courthouse and the jail, that kind of government center that we have there.
Right.
And we had the Bicentennial Museum, and with it, they had a bicentennial experience that lasted for 4 hours, and then the torch then traveled down into our Veterans Park, and they had the community orchestra there, and a very moving ceremony. And then it passed back to the city building and government center kind of intersection. And that's where Dave Snow, and along with the county commissioners, was able to do a brief ceremony. And then Dave ran that to Sean Dingworth, and that went to the intersection of First, and that's where the Richmond Art Museum is, and his affiliation with it. And another cool thing about the art museum is we were able to work with an artist. Sean was able to work with an artist to have them draw the 22 state parks and host that and exhibit that in the museum there. And the Bicentennial Commission actually came down and visited during that exhibit and had their meeting, and it was very, very well done.
Just on a side note, Sean does a fabulous job with Richmond Art Museum, and they're expanding, and they just do a lot of neat things. If people haven't had a chance to stop in there and see some of the things that they do, they really should do that.
And then Sean passed on to Brianna Marie Hillard, and she is the granddaughter of Sally Hutton. And Sally Hutton was a nominated torchbearer. Unfortunately, Sally did pass back in April.
Right.
And her granddaughter is running in her place.
How special is that?
That was, it's just truly special, and for her to pick up and do that. And then that passes on to Ava Stewart with Earlham College, and that passes right in front of the campus. Mm-hmm. And Todd Terrell, we placed him close to Westview School because we wanted to make sure Todd Terrell with the Richmond Community Schools, we were able to put him as close as we could within our route to an RCS school. Mark Maddox, he's a former resident. Michael Allen, the former fire chief, he's a distance runner and active in the running community, so he was so thrilled, to be a torchbearer. Jeff Fudge, he is also a posthumous nominee based on the first U.S. Postal Service that was in Centerville. And so
I read about him. How exciting.
It's so cool what he's doing. And then Dan Wandersee, which is the city town council president in Centerville. And James Resch, who's been so active in tourism and just a fabulous person. So it then went on to Curtis Frame, an IUE student, and active in a lot of organizations within the community. Tammy Hughes with the Boys and Girls Club bus, and she's a big part of the Boys and Girls Club community, and all the kids love her. And so what they did was they have a Boys and Girls Club bus that traveled and had some of the club kids in the bus with her. So that was really cool.
How neat is that?
Darren Dolahanny, the local judge and distance runner, covered a mile of ground, so that was very impressive. James Johnson with Auto Car, and Nancy Best, Liz Kinder, Frank Monroe, Sarah Geis, Chad Whistler. He was an officer in the Cambridge City community. Unfortunately, he was unable to act that day, so we had Denny Burns step in for him.
Oh, fantastic.
Our county
commissioner.
So,
wonderful.
That was wonderful for Denny to do. Jill King, Amber Gabbard, Patricia McDaniel. She also was a legacy project where she did a cookie book, and it was recipes through the decades. So she did a multi-decade cookie book that was published, and she's still marketing that through the Bicentennial.
Where can someone purchase that if they wanted to?
I would say maybe the Tourism Bureau.
Okay.
I'll double check with Mary on that.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the time this airs, we'll have something arranged.
Sure.
And then Mary Walker, our Wayne County
Yes.
Tourism Director, she finalized the route. She's our 36th Torch Bears, so she passed it on to Henry County thereafter.
Great.
So that's a kind of a run of the Torch Bears. We talked about a couple legacy projects, but I did want to mention one more that I think is just super important. Is the Cope Center and what they're doing with the kids' park. And if you haven't heard about it, I recommend you go to that website at the Cope Center. And you can go and claim a deed of land for a child that's under the age of 18. And every kid in the state of Indiana has a 1 square inch honorary deed set up. So you just
That is
go and
such a
claim it.
neat
And kind of
thing.
pioneer style. You go and claim your
Yes.
land. So it's super more involved in that. But I know we're short on time. But
Sure. No, that's a really neat project. And so how many of those are available? Do you know?
there are 14 legacy projects, and then as far as the land deeds, I couldn't give you the exact
Yeah.
number on that, but there are enough for all of the children within the state of Indiana.
Great. So if someone's interested in that, just go to the COPE website and find out more information, and be sure to do that. What a special thing to do with your child or your student. So there has just been a lot put into this, and we appreciate all the work that you and your committee has done, because you've been working on this for how long?
Oh, probably close to over a year now. And everyone has been so spectacular. And, you know, I mentioned some of these projects like the Levi Coffin House and the Cope Environmental. Those grew on their own. Those were little to no involvement from me. So those are the true champions, those that
Sure.
have picked these projects up and went with them. Another couple of highlights is the Star Jeanette Piano festival that they were able to do. They had the set the world record for playing
Right.
the piano 3 days in a row, and it's just phenomenal what people have come up with and been
Absolutely.
able to do for our Indiana Bicentennial.
Well, when the committee was talking about who to win the Spirit Award for this year, and knowing that the event, our luncheon, really wanted to center around the bicentennial too, it was perfect
It was
timing.
beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
The table arrangements, and then the little cookie, and you had flames on all the tables. It was
It was
beautiful.
a lot of fun and a really neat way to recognize, again, this group. But when they started talking about a group that has enhanced the spirit of Wayne County or demonstrated the spirit over this past year, there was no contest. You have such a phenomenal group of people put together that represent all walks of life in Wayne County, and many leaders and community members, and it was just perfect. So thank you for all of the work that you've done, and we're just pleased to have had an opportunity to not only recognize you at the event, but here on Chamber Chat. And if anybody wants more information about the Indiana Bicentennial events throughout the state, they can visit the state website as
That's
well,
correct.
right?
Yes.
So,
Well, thank you so much for everything. And these torchbearers, I'm sure that they are honored by the Spirit Award that you were able to give them.
great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And now we're back with our ending segment that's all about the Chamber, and I have Ed De La Paz here with me, who's the Director of Membership and Marketing for the Chamber. And what do we have going on? It seems like so much that we need to share today.
Well, there's a couple events going on soon that I really hope that Chamber members come out, support, come, attend, and have some fun. The first event that we have coming up is Engage Your Brain. This is the second part in the business education series, dealing with education in general. This one's more focused on continuing to learn beyond higher education, how to engage your brain outside of the school. So we're inviting in guests that are educational based, but not actually in the school systems.
Non-traditional education, such as we have Richmond Art Museum that we talked about earlier. They're going to be there and talking about some of the classes they have. And Richmond Symphony Orchestra, they do many things in the community. And then also Morrison Reeves Library, talking about some of the educational things that they offer for free.
Right. So we have a lot of people coming in talking about the different things that they do for the community and different ways you can learn outside of school.
And that's a free event. You just go to our website and click to register and show up that morning, have a little breakfast, learn a little something.
Beyond that, though, we also have, and actually in partnership with WCTV, we do have the In Focus election night coverage coming up too, because I believe you'll be a co-host on that?
I will for election night. That'll be my first chance. Hopefully everybody will be kind and easy to me, but yes. That's an exciting night with all of the energy wrapped around the results that come in, and we get to be here live.
Yeah, so we'll know if you tune in to that. As soon as we know the results, you guys will know the results. So definitely tune in for that. And then lastly, the other major thing that's coming up is the annual dinner. Now, along with that, though, we have the award ceremonies. And right now, voting is open. So if you have someone that you want to nominate for the different categories, please visit our website so that you can get the nomination form and you can fill it out and you can support whoever you think deserves the awards for this year.
Right. And different than the Community Improvement Awards that we've been talking about today, which is all about buildings and properties, the awards we do at the annual dinner are all about people and organizations and impact. And it's just a great night. So if you want to learn all about the awards that we give that night, you can find the information on our website, wcareachamber.org. Be sure to check it out. And I think that wraps it up for the day.
All right, well, thank you for having me on this segment.
Absolutely. Thanks for being with us, Ed, and thank you for tuning in.